and welcome to the Staunch Talk Show. Igama Princess Mahogo, and I'm super excited to be here today. We have quite a special guest. We have the COO of the Market Theatre Foundation, which is based in Johannesburg, and his name is Lekgetho Makola. He is also my inspiration, my mentor. I don't think he knows yet, but now that he's sitting next to me, now he knows. I was actually a student at the school back in 2016, and he was the leader back then at the Market Photo Workshop. Lekgetho, thank you so much for taking the time to join us, and welcome to the show.
Hello, and thank you for coming back.
And how do you feel about being my mentor?
I feel honored. I feel pride. And I think I feel that we should continue doing this work together, and sharing your experiences, also myself sharing my experiences to support and empower what you're doing, and also hopefully you empower what I'm doing and continue to do with the students of the Market Photo.
Yes, definitely, and it's such a good feeling to have been a student here and then come back, doing the work that the school empowered me to do. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much. You're a great example. Thank you.
So just briefly, congratulations firstly on your new position as the COO of the Market Theatre. Firstly, talk to us about the Market Theatre. For those who don't know, what is it? What does the institution do? And when was it established?
Thank you for that question. Market Theatre Foundation was recognized as an entity of the national government under the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture post-apartheid. But before that, it was the Market Theatre, which was founded 2 days after the June 16 uprising in 1976. So it's almost 50 years in the next 2 years. So the theatre, it was regarded as a theatre of struggle. It was regarded as a theatre that provided an opportunity for artists, in particular actors, writers, performers, stage writers, to create work that was about conscientizing, community about the struggles that the country faced then, but also intentionally create and mobilize for people to begin to be part of this anti-apartheid struggle. So that's why post-apartheid, the government felt it very important to recognize it as part of our heritage of this country, and to support it to continue doing great work that is still doing at this moment. So the Market Theatre Foundation has 4 artistic units. We call them programming units, which is the Market Theatre, which is the professional theatre, which has about 3 stages. The largest being the John Carney stage, which hosts about 400 people. And then we have the Market Theatre Laboratory, which is a acting school. Then we have the Windebrow Arts Center, situated in the heart of Hillbrow, which is a kind of a community-based type of cultural artistic platform, focusing on kids from the ages of 5 up until 16. That's a priority focus area, but we do also engage youth, especially the surroundings of Hillbrow being, putting youth under risk because of its own dynamics, but at the same time it's an opportunity for it to be seen as a Pan-African kind of community, which elevates the work of Windebrow and the Market Theatre as a whole around, cultures of Africa finding space in Hillbrow in this kind of context. And then finally, the Market Photo Workshop, which I think is one of those institutions that have this unique access to the theatre histories through photography, because photography also has an element of performance within the frame. So we try to link those relationships there around storytelling. But the photo workshop obviously it's a school, is a photography resource space, not only for the country but for the continent, and that has been kind of visibly evident with the types of photographers that go out in the world, and every year when a photographer wins an award somewhere in the world, chances are they're the former student of the Market Photo Workshop and then the Market Theatre Foundation. So that's how vibrant and uniquely kind of place this institution is, unlike any other across the country.
It sounds like the foundation plays and played even back then a very huge role in preserving the history of South Africa through the people that it nurtured, the photographers, the performers, because in those days, we were dealing with the apartheid era, and pictures are very important to keep. The performance art is very important to continue showing to other people, the younger generation, so that they understand where the country comes from. So I think that the foundation is really quite important and is playing a vital role in preserving our history and our culture, our heritage. That is quite wonderful. So now I wanted to find out then, with all these departments that you are involved in, are there any maybe highlights of people that have emerged from the foundation that you really hold dear to heart? Not that other people are not important, but like mentionable people that have come out of the workshop, as you mentioned that it involves quite a variety of different departments: performance art, photography, acting, all those things.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, in particular, the two schools, the Market Theatre Laboratory, which has produced amazing actors on stage and beyond, and especially on television. And then off late we had the lead actor in the TV program called Jovijo, who also comes from here, and a number of them being part of that, including some of the behind the camera individuals that have in terms of writing and directing have gone through the school. So there, I can't even name one. The Market Photo Workshop also is similar. I mean, many of them, like people such as Cezanele Moholu, we have Lebogang Khanye behind us, who's also doing amazing work. And the good things, these are women photographers in an industry that is known to be continue to be male dominated. And these are a few kind of individuals that I can mention. I avoid mentioning names because I think photographers that came out of this space, actors that came out of this space, continue to do other work in community, establishing forums, platforms that extend the experiences, but also the work that these two institutions do. They work in community, they work in rural spaces, they work in townships, to really invest, in enhancing the talent with those that might not even have an opportunity to come across into the city to go through the same program. So there is a variety of, I think, recognition from the artistic excellence, but also to the community impact that they do.
Yes, and how important and how is your relationship with other communities within the Johannesburg area, within the Gauteng area? Because I heard you talking about Hillbrow, which made me quite happy because we all know the situation there. Which other communities are you involved with? And if there are people that are watching this interview and they're like, I would actually like to get in touch with them and see what they can do, what we can put together to do in my community. Maybe someone from Vereeniging or Carltonville. How can they get in touch with the foundation, and what other projects are you maybe looking to explore within the Gauteng space?
So within the Gauteng space, thank you for that question. That's quite important. We continually try to reinvent how we interact with community. But we have relationships that exist within the theatre space. There's a program called the Gwasha Theatre, which comes from the students of the Market Theatre Laboratory, that also has an element of interaction with community. We have the Zogala Festival, which comes in annually, which is supported by the Market Theatre Foundation, and it actually it's a collaboration space where it interacts with community and community forums, community theatre groups, and provides them with funding to produce work that gets presented here at the Market Theatre Laboratory spaces, and the winning work gets supported and mentored and coached and guided until it's of a certain level of quality that it can be presented in the main theaters, in the market theater. So these are kind of platforms that are some of many that are quite active year to year. And in the Market Photo Workshop, we have the public engagement division that works every single year with different types of community groups. So this is generally a public-private partnerships where the Market Photo Workshop solicits or it gets invited to work with corporates with their CSI project to be part of making an impact in community. And what will happen is that Market Photo Workshop will identify these projects, will identify these groups that they will want to work with, or if the groups are already identified, they will then define how they will structure their interventions, especially with photography. So year to year, it shifts. The best way to know, firstly, is to follow us on our socials so that you get updates on what are we planning to do. We have newsletters. If you go to our website and you subscribe, you will get updates, but also just if you have a moment, visit us. I think we appreciate when people come and visit us because you can actually experience the energies, the space, the infrastructure that we have that was fully supported by our government. These beautiful world-class spaces, but for community. So once you're here, you can meet our staff members. They will share with you the plans for the year, but also how do you get to be part of them.
Okay, as much as we're going to put it up on screen, or on our screen for our viewers, maybe if you could just tell them the exact location of the Market Theatre.
The Market Theatre is in what we call the cultural precinct of the city of Johannesburg. It's in Newtown, right across from the Museum Africa, right next to the Merifiscal Square. So the downside of Johannesburg as you move into Volkswagen.
Yeah, and we will put up the address on the screen for the viewers. And also, how important is it for young people to explore such careers? Because I think growing up, we were exposed a lot to, you have to be a nurse, you have to be a doctor, you have to be a teacher. Some parents still don't understand the world of arts and culture. It's not something that is seen as a career path that you can follow that is regarded as serious. How important is it for parents, firstly, to understand the importance of such careers, and for the younger generation to try explain to their parents what these careers stand for, and where do foundations like the Market Theatre come in that conversation?
Well, I mean, we all come from there. And in the 80s, I wanted to study art, right? Animation to be more specific, because with the introduction of television in the 80s, especially in the rural areas where I come from, my first exposure to something that is exciting, that's artistic, was animation, cartoons. And I got interested in that, and that's where my artistic bent grew. Early 90s, obviously wanting to go study art. My father had a very particular kind of vision of how he sees me becoming a family man who is well structured and works. So his thought was to go study commerce. And I tried, but I failed. And that's when I said, like, look, I have to go do what I want to do. And I'm here because of the fact that I had to negotiate that with my father. I benefit of the doubt that I would try what you are recommending to me, but it could not work. You know, not those 2 years were not lost, because I benefited another angle that actually helps me now as a leader within the arts cultural space. But I think for me is that parents need to realize that the world without arts culture or cultural preservation or heritage preservation has no identity, has no soul. Each and every single country or major city on this planet has a unique identity that we all get attracted to. This because of the cultural offerings, from film to music to publications, to television, because I think parents don't realize that art is everywhere, from the clothes that we wear to the houses that gets built by other people and designed by other people, to the actual furniture within the house, to switching on the television, to the interface on your cell phone, to the music you listen to the films that you watch, to the magazine that you open to. The underlying discipline there is art, in whichever format that is. So I think parents need to realize that it's not only about STEM, your science, technology, engineering, maths, but STEAM. I worked at the University of Pretoria for the past 3 years running their cultural institution. The idea that they're beginning to infuse within the learning space is that students need to be given an opportunity to access transdisciplinarity, meaning that bringing disciplines together to understand the meaning of life. And law students should be exposed to art because firstly, it informs them about humanity in a different format outside of the technical legal space, but also they might become lawyers that work with the entertainment space. So it's good for them to learn and be exposed to these kind of other disciplines at the early stage of learning. That's why the current Minister of Education and the current Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, they're beginning to talk about making it a compulsory, mandatory expectation for every school to have an art program, especially from the elementary space, because what art does is that it adds value in how we grow our mind, our critical ways of thinking, of engagement. And I think for me, it's not only about somebody going to do or study art post-matric, it's about the entry level. And once I think we get exposed to that, especially in our Black community, because we lack that. And art exists, but exists differently to how we view it as a practice. But in other communities, demographics, art is part of a day-to-day life. That's why you see they thrive. The advertising industry is still predominantly white because the upbringing is such that children are equipped as early as possible for them to have, better entry into the education. Some of them don't even go into universities, right? So I think it's, for me, is we need to look at it holistically. Art as part of life, art as part of the developmental agendas of this continent in particular, because it kind of instills dignity. Where dignity is eroded, it restores dignity. And once somebody feels proud of themselves, are dignified, they are prone to perform better and to be much more progressive, innovative in thinking about futures. So art for me is, in that sense, very holistic.
I hear you. And how would you describe then the legacy of the Market Theatre Foundation? Because that's the question that popped into my mind while you were speaking about the importance of art. So we've heard you speaking about the importance of the foundation. How would you describe its legacy? Like, what's the aim of the school? What does it aim to achieve and leave behind?
Both the Market Theatre Laboratory and the Market Photo Workshop opened their doors in 1989. It's a very important year, I think, globally. Things were starting to change with the collapse of the communist geography, the fall of the Berlin Wall. But in South Africa, one of the biggest marches that was moving towards, the real dismantling of apartheid. And these individuals, that John Gunn, together with his friends and colleagues, founded the Market Laboratory. And then David Goldblatt, as an esteemed photographer, then saw a need to together with his colleagues, to provide resources to give an opportunity to those individuals from the townships that wanted to and had a thirst to learn photography and how to use it within their own communities. So those two institutions were change makers, in the sense that they provided education that Black children or kids could not access elsewhere because obviously of the apartheid laws. So in that sense, it began to build future post-apartheid artists, both in practice, but also people that went out to expand the practice and to emphasize the importance of the practice as part of conscientizing people about making life for themselves and for their community. So in that sense, I think it was a change maker, in that some of the best directors, runners of institutions came through that space. Some like John Friedhood, who studied at the Market Forum Workshop, became the teacher at the Market Forum Workshop, became the director of the Market Forum Workshop, is somewhere now in the Netherlands running another a platform of similar nature. So you find that the influence of the work through this photographer is not only limited to our geography, Gauteng or national, it's global. So that's how that education positioned South Africa, not just photography or theater, but South Africa in its cultural offering to the world.
And you mentioned that the school is obviously funded by the government, if I'm correct. Is there anything else maybe that you'd like to request from the government? Is there anything that the school needs from the government or from the community in terms of support? You are supporting so many people as an institution. How can those people then pay it back or pay it forward to support someone else? Because obviously when someone gives to you, you would want to pay it forward by giving to someone else, supporting someone else. So for people who are watching and want to add on to this, even if maybe they didn't benefit anything from the school in terms of maybe a parent having a child who was a learner here, but they see so much potential in the institution and they want to help, how can people assist the institution?
Thank you for that question. Very, very important, and I think it's one of my current important roles as the Chief Operations Officer of this organization, to find different ways of fundraising and raising revenue with the resources that we have. For me, the resources also is our alumni community, is people that follow us. But most importantly, we want to appreciate the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture for their commitment over these many years, for the past many years, basically funding the core programs of the institutions to keep the lights on, to have this building as accessible, to subsidize some of our courses, because obviously students have to pay an augmented amount to the subsidized amount. Many of the successful institutions globally, like your International Center for Photography, are self-sustainable now because of the community that they have built, that have contributed to. And I think that's the culture that we need to firstly borrow, but also encourage within the continent itself. There is a lot of money, but money goes to different priorities. And we believe strongly that these institutions, through community, with the kind of impact that it has, I think community should begin to think on how to invest back into the future of it. And this includes the corporate, because obviously where there's culture is thriving, corporates benefit hugely, because what we do, we're improving the quality of life, both mentally, in terms of wellness, but also in terms of the worldview. So generally, corporates will then begin to define their offerings according to this type of demographic. So we believe strongly that it becomes an ecosystem if they do begin to invest back. So these two institutions in particular, the photo workshop and the lab, if we can raise, for example, 40 million US dollars over a period of time, that those funds can become a permanent investment where we might not even have to go out to find funding, because the interest from it can actually support the operationalization of both institutions. But we know that currently might not be an immediate possibility, but what we do like to say is that coming to the theater, paying that 150 rands or 200 rands towards the performance, does not only come to us to sustain the servicing of the offering, but it also goes to the artists. So the artists benefit from the service and the talent that they present to us as humanity. So we need to begin to also to think of that value exchange, because it's not only just about supporting, but the support we gain something out of at the end of the day.
Okay. So someone who is watching right now and would like to sponsor, maybe a businessman who's watching and would like to sponsor, how do they get in touch with the institution? Is there maybe a website that they can reach you on, or maybe a number?
Obviously, they can go to the Market Theatre website, which is a corporate website, and there is a donation link there, or else they can just connect us through that portal, which is www.markettheatre.co.za, or they can reach out to myself as the COO to initiate the conversations. And my email address is lekgetho@markettheatre.co.za.
And then before I let you go, then for students who are interested then in joining any of your many offerings as the Market Theatre, where do they go to apply? What is the right time of the year to apply? Is there a time where applications are closed, or are you open throughout the year? Such information for those learners who are aspiring to come to the school.
The Market Theatre Laboratory runs long courses, a year to 2 years, and we encourage prospective students to apply from mid-year around June. Generally, depending on the numbers of the applicants, we might close up to around November, December. The Market Photo Workshop is similar, but the Photo Workshop, because it also runs 3-month courses to 6-month courses, the applications are open throughout the year. But for the long courses, we close in December before the organization goes off. So by the 15th of December, if the numbers have not been reached, we will still be open for applications. And to apply, you can go to the same website, markettheatre.co.za, and then you click on the respective schools that you want to, either theatre or photography. Or you can actually Google the Market Photo Workshop and it will take you to the website, or you can Google the Market Theatre Laboratory. It will take you to your website, and then you follow the links there to take you to the application.
And what is the foundation looking for in aspiring students? What qualities are you looking for from people who are applying to the foundation or to the various departments of the foundation?
And thank you again for that question. That's also something that puts us in a very unique space, because our entry requirements are not the same as the university. So we cater for students who might not have achieved their matric marks as expected, to give them an opportunity to enter university or other institution of higher learning. We consider what's in the self, your attitude, what you want to achieve with the practice, and that is one of the most important signifier of us establishing if you are going to make it in the program or not. So you do have people that have degrees and up to PhDs who are coming in to learn photography, but also you do have people that have gone to up to standard 8. I don't know what grade it is, standard 8. But yeah.
I don't want to mess it up and say it's grade 8 because I have a feeling it's not.
It's not grade 8. Yeah, so then you come in. For the long courses, we'll have some kind of an interview. But if you, for example, the long courses, if you have a portfolio, you look at that portfolio. But obviously, because the long courses, the year courses requires a certain level of understanding text, because there's a lot of reading, there's theory, there's analysis of text. We will require you to show some kind of proficiency in that. But generally, the photo workshop, you enter through the foundation course, the intermediate course. Both of those prepares you for the long courses.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much though for your time. Before I let you go, is there anything else that you feel is important to mention that maybe we might have not covered in the interview? This is the time maybe that you could give us that information.
I think we covered all, but I think one of the most significant one is the role that the Market Theatre Foundation is intending to have in pushing to collaborate with the city of Johannesburg to really emphasize the need for us to revitalize the city, to support the development and growth of the city, from safety to quality, but also to the city becoming an international brand again, where people, when they come to the city, they first want to experience the culture of the city through the Lekgetho Foundation, through the Joburg Theatre, through the Johannesburg Art Gallery, through the Museum Africa, of course, through the Workers Museum. So we begin to have a network of cultural offerings that work as a collaborative rather than as silos. So that's the mission that we want to get into. Like, we're no longer Lekgetho Foundation alone, but we're Lekgetho Foundation with other important cultural platforms across the city. Obviously, feeding into the township, that we begin to have a holistic offering to the world of an amazing and unique cultural experience.
Thank you so much, Lekgetho, for taking the time to speak with us, and for just making the time to be here and give us such information about the Lekgetho Foundation.
Thank you very much.
And that is Lekgetho Makola, who is the COO of the Lekgetho, and he was just speaking to us about the importance of the foundation, the role that they play within the city and the community of Johannesburg. Thank you so much for joining us at home, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.